Hello and welcome to the Veneto Club for what promises to be an intriguing game of the NPL 2 Eastern Conference between the Manningham United Blues and Melbourne City. It's a contest of 7th versus 8th on the NPL 2 Eastern Conference table, and neither side really has what you'd call good form coming into this one. Melbourne City without a win in their past 5 games, 3 losses on the bounce, and Manningham United with just the 1 win in their last 5 3 weeks ago, with 2 draws and 2 losses before that. We'll quickly take you through the starting lineups now. Starting for the home side, Manningham United, number 4, Alexander Dow. Number 5, Jamal Ali. Number 8, Travis Chalk Hatton. Number 9, Billy Romas. Number 10, Dean Lorenzi. Number 13, Frank Carafa. Number 20, Anton Nardella. Number 22, Mark Vangeli. Number 31 in goals, Stephen Teleski. Number 33, Dylan Breslin. And the captain, number 52, Michael Godfrey. For the visitors, wearing their black away strips, Melbourne City. Number 2, Mitchell Graham. Number 4, Nicholas Hatzigeorgiou. Number 8, Connor Metcalf. Number 13, Jordi Boss. Number 17, Josh Cavallo. Number 27, Dalibor Markovic. Number 36, Dylan Piraeus. Number 40, Magic Mawith. Number 44, Luke Dazelle. And wearing number 99, the highest number he could possibly get out there today, is Stefan Kolakowski. On the bench for Manningham United, we've got Nathan Prince, Kaiki Saito, Daniel Polizan, James Newman, and on the bench for City we have Ahmed Taleb, Yaya Dukuli, Gianluca Iannucci, Bradley Chick, and Josh Varga. My name is Joey Lynch from the Daily Football Show, and I will be your colour commentator today, and I am joined once again after our somewhat sodden debut as a pairing last week by The Age newspaper's chief football writer and The Age, Sydney Morning Herald, who writes wherever he can get a yarn in, Michael Lynch. Michael, thanks for joining me, and it should be an intriguing contest in this one, an academy side going at it in a senior competition.
Well, yes, it should be, but it's what we've been wanting to see, isn't it? And we're getting it a bit. These young stars or players with promise in these A-League sides taking on teams, senior men's teams in this sort of league. It should expedite their development, and I must say, it feels almost sun-kissed after last week's horror show in the rain and wind at Port Melbourne. But better temperatures, but will we get a better game? You'd be hard-pressed to get better than 6 goals in the one match, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. Well, hopefully we should see some goals. There were goals aplenty in the under-20s match, which just concluded. Well, goals aplenty for one side at least, as Melbourne City recorded an 8-0 victory in the curtain raiser of the under-20s matchups, as we see them now go to work in the back line. And the scenes, you would say, Melbourne City kicking from left to right in their black strips, and Manningham United kicking from right to left in their sky blue strips. It's pretty much, aesthetically at least, an exact replica of the Sydney FC versus Melbourne City game a couple of weeks ago, isn't it?
It certainly would be, yeah. 2-0 that finished, didn't it, to Melbourne City, who, I must say, I covered their game last night. A very good scoreline. They really needed that 4-1 win over Brisbane. And we've seen Rami Najareen, who came off the bench there. He's involved here today.
Absolutely. Well, one of the brightest stars of the City Academy is Najareen, but now Manningham United moving forward through Carafa, but he will be dispossessed by Dylan Piraeus, and Magic Mawith will clean up for the visitors. We'll now look to build out through the right, looking for Connor Metcalf, another player that has had recorded A-League minutes this season, but it will be turned over, and now Manningham can go forward. It's turned over, and now Najareen, fresh off his A-League appearance, on the ball, cheeky step over, cunning across the field. He's got Piraeus in space on his right if he wants it, and he will feed the wing back, but unfortunately the pass is wayward. There's a coming together, and Breslin, I think it is, will clear it up. But Piraeus is still down, and this is a concern. So early on for City, it was a heavy knock that he collected from Breslin, and now the trainers have been summoned rather quickly.
Well, it was a bit of a hospital ball in the end, wasn't it, from Najarine? He did some terrific approach work, but there's probably a bit too much on that ball. Committed Dylan Price to a 50-50, and he's come off worse.
Not what we want to see so early in the game, a player, especially a young player with the promise of Dylan Pereira's going down injured. City have had somewhat of a horror run with injuries for their NPL side as of late. Of course, a couple of weeks ago we had very scary scenes when Sam Morrison suffered a badly broken leg in the game against Moreland Zebras that eventually forced that game to be abandoned and postponed, but fortunately Dylan looks like he's coming off, and the good news from that incident with Morrison is that he had surgery a couple of days later and he is well on the mend. So on behalf of all of us in the commentary team and just everybody in the football family, we pass on our best wishes to Sam as he begins his rehabilitation. As now Manningham looked to break down the right, but it's quickly picked out, and now Kolakowski has a chance to break down the left. He's got Najarine in the middle if he wants him. He will look for Najarine, but it's picked out quickly by Teleski in the goals, and now Manningham have a chance of their own to go forward through Breslin. To Chalk Hatton in the middle. Nardella. Under pressure from Metcalf. He plays it back to Chalk Hatton. It's just another turnover now, and City can go forward again. And Piraeus back on the field after receiving treatment can do what he loves most, cantering up the right wing. But he's forced to go back to Hatzi Georgiou. Piraeus. Mitch Graham. Markovic. Dalibor Markovic. Back to Graham. City looking to build slowly and confidently, but poor ball from Graham. Forces Hatzi Georgiou to go backwards. But City will reset. Markovic plays it out to the left, but once again they're forced to go back. And that's Cavallo. Plays it back to Magic Mawith, who is starting in goals. James Delianov, the young Socceroo, and has trained with the Olyroos, goalkeeper in the City Academy, not playing today. So we've got Magic Mawith starting for City in goals, and Joey, under 17 representative, Ahmed Talib on the bench. Now Manningham going forward. Speculative early effort there from Lorenzi, who was Manningham United's leading scorer last year in the state leagues with 21, but City will comfortably clear and move forward through Luke Dazelle, but he's turned the ball over in the middle. There's a ball forward for, but it's, I think it was Karacha, but it was cleared rather easily by Marwith in the end. Well, and Michael, as you said, you were, I know we don't normally talk about the A-League when we're here in NPL Victoria, but given that we are watching their academy side playing, we might as well mention them. You were at the A-League game yesterday. How did City look?
Well, I think really importantly they bounced back well and showed plenty of character after that appalling performance, and it truly was dreadful the week before when they were beat 3-0 by West Sydney Wanderers. And Florin Berenguer, in what may well be a really good sign for them, probably had his best game for the club. You know, he's had a trouble.
So Carafa plays the ball through. The shot came from Nardella, but Majak Mawith was out well to clear the shot. But the danger isn't completely gone yet. That was nicely worked from Manningham. Their first, you would say, break through that City defence, but now City can build.
Yes, City can build, but just going back to what I said, was saying, Berenguer, in what may be a really good sign for Melbourne City, probably had his best ever game for the club. You know, I know that the bar probably wasn't that high, but
Dylan Piraeus looking for Kolakowski, can't get it through.
But most of the good things that they had in the first half he was involved in. He created Shea Harrison's goal with some terrific persistence, and could have had a couple himself. So that's a real positive sign for them. And the scoreline will obviously be a bit of a morale boost. It was good to see from a City perspective that they didn't drop their heads. They'd had the best of the game, 1-0 up, and then a Harrison Delbridge own goal gave Brisbane an equaliser they never looked like getting. But City went on with the job and got another 3. So they're very up and down, though. They're the Jekyll and Hyde team of the league. So we don't know if that's a solid form line or not. Now
Piraeus on the right swings the ball in, looking for support in the middle, but it's cut out comfortably in the end by Manningham, and now, well, they will look to build by the right, but Metcalf lays somewhat of a sloppy challenge there on Nardella, and it'll be a free kick. Free kick, I think, yeah, free kick for Manningham. Well, as you mentioned before, Nazarene, who's just on the ball there, actually came on as a late substitute for City in that game, probably when the game was somewhat in the bank. But how did he look in his little cameo appearance last night?
I mainly just remember him doing goose stepping stepovers, really.
Shot from Manningham, but it's well over the bar.
But, yeah, it's good to see lads like him getting out. I think they were probably 3-1 up at the time, and he came off the bench. Lockie Wales came off the bench, and so did Riley McGree. And McGree scored a lovely goal, actually, in junk time. Look, you know, there's no doubt if City can put it together, they can trouble anyone. It's just a question of whether they put it together on a consistent basis.
Probably a similar refrain to their youth side, because pretty regularly, especially early in NPL season, City's side here in NPL 2 will feature a lot of young A-League talent that on their day should be some of the best talent in the NPL. As Nazarene curls a shot, and it's just tipped over the bar by Teleski, and Nazarene, that was very reminiscent, Nazarene, there, of a shot that he had at the AFC Under-19 Championships last season, very late in the game, to salvage a draw for Australia, where he just cut inside and curled a shot in his left. But a hint of the talent that he possesses, and like I was saying, a hint of the talent that City can roll out, especially in the early stages of the NPL season, and really it's a matter of them putting it all together. As another ball comes in, it's headed by Metcalf, but it goes just wide. But, well, we were just talking about him there, and that was an absolute fantastic effort from Nazarene there, curling it on his left foot.
Yeah, it was an excellent shot from Rami Nazarene. Almost had the keeper beaten in an excellent stretch and tip over. And Connor Metcalf, another boy who's had A-League experience, just flashing the header wide from the corner. There's no doubt that, you know, the way the academy is structured at City, they should get the best of the local and perhaps interstate talent as well. So you'd be expecting them to look good, particularly at this time of the season.
City now trying to build again. Cavallo pulling the strings at the base of the midfield. Metcalf slides a ball in behind the defence. Nazarene shoots. Nazarene scores. Easy as you like. Just slice the ball through. Bang, bang, bang goes City. And Nazarene showing that class that we know he has. Left foot effort. Teleski really given no chance of saving that one.
No, it was a classy finish, but even more classy was the ball through from Metcalf, where he essentially bisected the entire Manningham defence and threaded it through, and, you know, very inviting position for a player of Nazarene's ability, and he took the chance superbly. 1-0, and it's pretty well deserved, you'd say.
Absolutely. Well, it's a case here early. Well, City haven't had a win in quite a long time. They, like I said, haven't won in 5 weeks, so they'll want to take that one goal from Nazarene and kick on with it, because you'd say, especially for a junior side, they could potentially drop their heads, as Manningham will get a corner. Ball comes to the back post, and there was a shot in the end, but it's deflected off the City defence, and Manningham will have another corner. But yeah, a young side. When they start losing games and they haven't won a game, it'd be very easy for them to drop their heads, wouldn't it?
Well, it might be. I don't see why it should be. I mean, if they've all got aspirations to being professional footballers, which to get to this level and be in the City Youth Academy, they surely must have.
Ball comes back in now, just over the bar, and that's two very dangerous chances for Manningham United there. That was their captain, Michael Godfrey, just coming up from the defence and very almost bringing his side level.
Yeah, just going back to what I was saying though, if you're good enough to be in a City Academy, you have surely aspirations to being a professional footballer, and mental strength is one of the things that's required. If you're a professional, you've got to be able to, you know, get over defeats and keep your motivation strong. So Well, I would agree with you that there is sometimes a tendency for younger players to drop their heads. There doesn't have to be, and I think part of the toolkit they need is to be resilient and to be able to back up after poor results and still go at it.
So maybe that can be one of the character tests as the long ball comes over, but we do know Warren Joyce, the Melbourne City A-League head coach, is one of the more old school coaches amongst A-League coaches and would like those spirits of getting stuck in and never dropping your head and keeping on going. So chance for these young boys to show that they've got the character that Joyce continuously talks about.
I don't actually see what's old school about that. I mean, it's a prerequisite of the professional game, isn't it? You run hard, you chase hard, you tackle hard, and you keep your motivation up. It's the same in any job. You've got to work hard and keep your motivation up. And so I don't necessarily regard it as old school. I just regard it as the base part of the basic kit pack of any professional. And if Joyce or any other A-League coach is trying to...
So ball comes in. Another chance for Manningham, and that is headed just wide. So I think that was Van Gelly with the shot, and City living on the edge of their seats at the moment. Manningham with 3 chances in quick succession to equalise. And just getting back to your point, maybe I just think he's old school because he's one of those Northern English coaches, and it's impossible to not think of a Northern coach as being anything but old school.
Well, that's right. You know, he talks like this, don't he? You know, and he's got a Mancunian sort of accent, and yeah, it does sound, you know, a bit like Mike Bassett, England manager, I guess. But that doesn't mean your voice doesn't necessarily mean that's how you are.
Stay tuned for more of Michael Lynch's impressions throughout the broadcast, and maybe if you have a request that of any football figures you'd like him to do, leave us a comment if you're watching through Victoria, and we'll see what he can do. As twisting and turning, Manningham trying to get a go through again, and they've really responded well to going down a goal as they look to break through again through Lorenzi, but the shot comes out and Piraeus is forced to clean up with Carafa circling, and Carafa comes back, but it will be a goal kick. But very, very nervy signs if you're City after going up early, and in the first few minutes it looked like they were maybe running away with it, and the goal was spectacular, but a fire lit under Manningham United by the goal.
Yeah, got to say, they've really shown great character to talk about an earlier point, you know, referring back. They have. Since they went 1-0 down, they've really pushed on, been very committed, and caused quite a lot of trouble, particularly in the air, I think, from set pieces and corners.
As now, once again, they will force a turnover in the defence as Carafa on the wing plays it back in for Nardella, and Nardella now is under pressure from Metcalf, and Metcalf does well to dispossess him, but comes straight back under pressure from Nardella, and Nardella has won a corner for his side. So absolute massive amounts of pressure coming towards the City defence, and is falling over there. I think that was Mitchell Graham's been bundled over, but no doing, as don't think the referee saw it regardless, as another ball comes in now, and the tall timber of Manningham heads up. Had a free header, and it's gone over the bar, and well, the captain once again, Godfrey, he'd gotten free, and if he'd been able to get that on target, because Malwith had come out, that would have been a goal for Manningham.
Well, he should have got it on target, shouldn't he? I mean, he's twice the size of everyone out there. Obviously a huge aerial threat, and it did look like a free header, so a very good chance spurned.
And now another move forward as got really under pressure here is City, and we'll see what breaks first. Manningham's ability to keep up this pressure or this young City backline. Is another turnover as Ali picks it out, and they'll work it over to the right. Romas on the right there. But no, City have forced a turnover, and now they can break forward of their own. The ball is played through for Nazarene, but the captain, Godfrey, does well to play it back to Teleski. But now City, Dazelle applying the pressure. City can, well, they'll collect now, and they're going to try to build, but Manningham's quickly pressing up, and that's something that we didn't really see in the first 15 minutes of this game, as a couple of the young City boys not playing today, Mark Karlich and Lucas Portelli, coming and sitting in front of us. Hello, boys. Now it's Graham on the ball. just another turnover now, and Carafa plays the ball forward. He's had a very good opening here on the left for Manningham. Plays the ball back to Nardella, but it's a turnover now, and now City can break quickly through Metcalf. What can he do? Well, Breslin was able to slow him down a bit. Now another one of these big central defenders for Manningham. Well, Chalk Hatton, he's playing in the midfield, just turns the ball over. And now, look at... gives away the free kick there, does Chalk Hatton, just grabbing the back of Graham's top. And, well, you were talking about the size difference there, and that was really evident there. Just Chalk Hatton, like, it looks like he eats people the size of Mitch Graham for breakfast. Now Piraeus on the ball on the right. What can he do? He's going to look to play a give and go with Kolakowski. Kolakowski momentarily lost possession, but he's got the ball back. And now ball in from Piraeus, but there's nobody waiting in the middle. Manningham looking to build against once again through Carafa. No, that is Breslin on the left. Dow switches the play over. And Duzel will give away the free kick, and another chance for Manningham to get something going in a chance for Manningham to swing something in. They're getting, once again, you can see that tall timber heading into the box, particularly Chalk Hatton. He's a very large man. I'll give him, there's a slight elbow there as well, right in front of the referee, but no doing. Ball comes in, but Cavallo does well to just leap up and get a head on it. But it will now be a corner for Manningham. Lorenzi, the Golden Boot winner for Manningham last year. He scored 21 goals in their promotion-winning State League 1 campaign. He'll swing it in on his right boot. Can Godfrey rise again? Instead it goes short. And it's cut out. Now Kolakowski will look to turn on the Jets, which he does have. Well, he gets past the sliding challenge of Romas, but couldn't get past Breslin as well. And ball is hoofed forward, and Lorenzi was offside when the ball was played. And looks like Hatzi Giorgio will take it. And Lorenzi was playing a bit of silly buggers there. Lucky to not maybe get a telling off from the referee. Now, City looking to build once again. Switching play. Hatzi Giorgio, former Victory prospect, now with City. Plays it to Najarine, who's drifted central, and he'll play a ball to Metcalf, but Metcalf is offside, and it will be a goal kick to Manningham United.
Well, it's been quite an interesting opening 22-odd minutes, midway through the first half here. City began brightly and deservedly took that lead with an excellent finish by Najarine from an even better defence-splitting pass by Connor Metcalf. But since that point, you have to say it's Manningham who've really made the running, created a lot of problems for City with their tall players from set pieces and corners, and the physicality. I mean, they are older and bigger and stronger, and you know, this is something that these academy teams can learn from and will learn from and improve by playing against senior opposition. We used to see it decades ago when we had the NSL and more clubs in the league, where you got a lot more younger kids getting chances in the first team, and it's of course one of the big arguments in favour of creating a second division nationally now for the A-League, that you will get more young players getting more first team action.
Of course, that is one of the very big things. We recently saw the release of the New League's Working Group report, and by all accounts, the report, or at least a white paper or a guiding document from the Second Division Working Group, that's release is immigrant, a project a number of people involved in that, chaired by Remo Nogarotto and the AAFC, of course, as well, contributing to that to try to get a second tier up. As City will look to break forward through Kolakowski, but he'll cut inside and switch it to Metcalf, who's got Piraeus in support on the right, as well as Najjarine, and he's going to find Najjarine. Well, miscommunication there. He wanted Piraeus on the overlap, but Piraeus wasn't aware of it, or maybe Najjarine gave a subtle head nod the wrong way to send him another direction, but regardless, it'll be a goal kick to Teleski. He will now look to play to Breslin. Oof. And he's...
Truly terrible goal kick, put his fullback under pressure, lost the ball, and then he has to bring down Najjarine, gives a free kick away in a difficult area. You know, we haven't got a gale blowing here, there's no wind, the conditions are perfect, so that was clearly an error, and, well, will they pay for it? Who knows?
And once again, a player in a very similar position to where Piraeus went down. Now Najjarine is looking like he's just come off worse for wear, and that the trainer hasn't come on though, so he should be able to stay on the field, which he will do so. As we've got Piraeus is standing over the ball with Hatzigeorgiou in support, but it looks like it will be Piraeus that'll take it, and he'll just play it back to Graham. Najjarine working on the right. Just plays the ball back to Cavallo in the middle. He'll look for Hatzigeorgiou. Now Manningham looking to go through Lorenzi. He's just swarmed by a host of City defenders, and looks like City have withstood the tide.
Well, they have at this point, haven't they? Because they're still 1-0 up, but they don't look entirely convincing anymore.
Well, that's a poor ball. Just Najjarine, no chance, and Breslin tries to take it quick. Will look to take it quickly. Nothing doing though, and he'll play it back to his centre back, Vangeli. Looking for Carafa, but it's picked out by Lorenzi. Breslin flicks the ball into the middle. Dow puts it out onto the right. Handball, appeals for a penalty. And it's a free kick on the very edge of the area, it appears. Manningham wanted a penalty. They're not going to get one, of course, and VAR hasn't made its way to David Burrows Stadium at the Veneto Club yet, so no going back to review it, but that's a get-out-of-jail free card if I've ever seen one, the position of that free kick.
Well, it was. I thought it was inside the area, and to me it did look like a penalty, but then again, I do wear glasses and have done since I was 11, so who knows.
Yes, perhaps should have gone to Specsavers. One of the greatest jokes of all time whenever Specsavers decide to sponsor referee kits. But so it will be a free kick here to Manningham as the referee, he's going to force this City wall very deep in their back line. A number of players standing over it, and you would, if you were any good at set pieces, you would fancy your chances in this situation. Shot straight into the wall. It's still there, deflected, and it will be a corner kick. So not convincing defending at all, but City survive.
Wasn't convincing defending, but it was a poor free kick as well. I mean, he just hit it low and hard and straight into the defence. They probably got lucky in the end. They got a deflection to get a corner.
You are grumpy today.
No, I'm not grumpy. I'm just saying what I'm seeing, you know.
Anyway, Manning will have another chance. The tall timber once again is moving forward, and it's up high for them if they can get it, but they can't. It looks like that was Chalk Hatton, I think, the captain, Godfrey, who's had about 3 or 4 headers, but couldn't get that one on target.
Oh, definitely not Grumpy. I backed Bivouac and Microphone at Randwick on the first day of the championship, so at least they've covered all my other bets for the day, so I can't lose.
Remember, gamble responsibly. Quit while you're ahead. I can't remember any of the other things, but yeah, all of that stuff. As it'll be another corner for Manningham.
I have spent a lot of my life punting irresponsibly, I will admit.
Don't know what quite to say to that, and maybe that's where my inheritance is going, but never mind. Does Manningham have another corner here? That both hands up, and it will get swung in once again. Can they finally get something on target at least? But it's cleared only as far as Breslin, but then he shoots up high to incredulous responses from some of his teammates. Lorenzi just yelling out to him, just, "What are you doing, mate?" Really not quite sure what he was doing there. Maybe he thought he was playing rugby and looking for a conversion.
Well, Johnny Wilkinson probably would have got it between the posts.
Good old Johnny Wilkinson, winning World Cups for England. If only we could do that in a different sport. As Mawith hoofs the ball out long. Nazarene is underneath it, but he's just out-muscled. Nancy Giorgio puts it back in, and that's... Ooh. Well done from Geordie Boss to collect, and then he's sent absolutely sprawling by Chalk Hatton. Just majestic in his flight path there, but it will be a free kick to Melbourne City as we approach half an hour gone here. Chance for maybe Melbourne City. Piraeus. Markovic. Graham. Piraeus. Just a bit of a wayward pass from Graham, but Piraeus collects and plays it back to Markovic. Graham threads it through to Metcalf. He'll play it back to Piraeus. Kolakowski turns it over, though, and Breslin will now collect at left back for Manningham. He's been very busy, has Breslin, as has this man, Lorenzi, under pressure from Hatzigiorgio and Piraeus, but big muscular Lorenzi is able to win the ball out. Breslin plays it forward in the direction of Lorenzi once again, but no doing, and Mawith will clear to Mitchell Graham, who is an interesting player as Mitch Graham. He was the first graduate of City's College of Football program in Bendigo, Southeast College. He's a Bendigo lad, had a father, Stephen Graham, who played in the state leagues in the 90s and was also a part of City's tour of India, the City's A-League tour of India before the season started. So has obviously impressed enough people at City to merit a trip to the subcontinent, even if he is probably on the smaller side for a centre-back.
Yeah, I'm surprised he is playing at centre-back. I haven't seen a lot of him. Those pre-season tours, though, they often do take a lot of the kids. You know, you've got to remember they're signing players. Foreign players haven't usually joined by July, not always. But great opportunity for Mitch Graham to go to India and to get a taste of what it's like in the first team.
Of course, one of City's bigger lads isn't playing today, sitting in front of us, Lucas Portelli. Another interesting player, another interesting orange for Lucas Portelli, was born in Huddersfield before he came out to Australia as a youngster.
Does he still speak with a Yorkshire accent?
No, he doesn't, although he's sitting right in front of us, so you can have a chat with him at half-time if you like, as Mawith comes out and smothers an attack from the Manningham defence. As there we go, we're now up to if anybody's playing along at home, that's 2 accents done by Michael Lynch throughout the day. Well, Liverpool had a win overnight. Maybe we'll get you to do some Liverpudlian at some point during the game as you shake your head. None of that stuff. Well, maybe we'll ask you about Spurs' new stadium instead, as now City look to build. They're being patient, aren't they, City? They're trying to play their game. As my co-commentator's got the phone call, so it's just going to be me for a little while. Who knows, maybe some interesting little scoop that you'll be able to read about in the Age tomorrow. With City, well done there by Cavallo, who's such an important part of what this City team tries to do, pulling the strings in the midfielders. We'll get it to Piraeus on the right, and Piraeus will cut it back. The shot comes in from Duzel. It's well kept out, though, by Teleski, and Manningham will hoof the ball out. And Mitch Graham collects, but that was very well done. Cavallo, he's from the southeast of Melbourne, is a young Socceroo. As Piraeus now whips the ball into Kolakowski off the post, back at a follow-up by Metcalf. Metcalf makes absolutely no mistake with that one. Kolakowski takes the first effort off the post, and Metcalf showing his class. It's the reason he's been playing A-League in the past, and he puts the ball in, and it is 2-0 to Melbourne City Youth. Well, they did well to weather the storm from Manningham United after that first goal, keep them out, and now they've been rewarded with another goal. So, will be disheartening for the hosts. They were playing particularly well. Lorenzi throwing his weight around, but nonetheless they find themselves down 2-0 with about 13 minutes left to play. Now coming forward once again through Cavallo. Najjarine, he's gone back to the left, and you've seen throughout this game, Najjarine has freelanced throughout the pitch and hasn't given Manningham a chance to lock him down in one position. And well, Michael, as you rejoin me here, City 2, Manningham 0. Did you see the goal?
No, I didn't, because I was handling a phone call from the sports editor who had a couple of questions about an interesting story I've written about the Women's World Cup and pay rates and gender equality, and in terms of pay for women and men, and what the Australian PFA is trying to do about it. So that's why I didn't see that second goal. But these are the perils of live broadcasting while you're also holding down another job.
Absolutely. Well, nonetheless, it was a very tidy finish in the end by Metcalf. Reacted quickly to Kolakowski's shot coming off the post. And it's City 2, Manningham United 0. He's under pressure there from Najjarine. Just forced to go long is Teleski. Now City, well. Oh, ball comes through to Kolakowski. He's onside. He should score. Kolakowski. Sets it up for Najjarine, but that was poor there. Should have just pulled the trigger, shouldn't he?
Absolutely. What was he thinking? He had a look to his right, to the linesman, make sure he was onside. Thought his first touch looked a bit heavy, actually, but anyway, still had enough time to pull the trigger and finish that. Trying to do the unselfish thing, but the pass to his teammate was poor and was intercepted.
As was that touch there from Graham, which was given a throw-in to the Blues through Carafa. But yes, perhaps too much brain thinking there from Kolakowski. Maybe just turn the old noggin off and just hammer something in on goal. Maybe Najjarine's already scored 5 goals this season. He doesn't exactly need another one. Be a bit selfish, Stephen.
Oh, maybe. Brain thinking. Is that what you do when you're using your mouth words?
I don't know. I just stole it off Ante Jukic, writer for ESPN and The Guardian. As City... Oh, that's a almost hospital touch there from Graham that could have allowed Lorenzi to nip in, but nonetheless get away with it. Now Cavallo once again will just look to pull the strings and get something forward, as he'll play Jordy Boss in down the left, but cut out there by Godfrey. So, but, well, we saw after the first goal, Manningham came out like a house on fire and really threatened, but this time it looks that there won't be a repeat performance, as City, instead of shutting it down, and they will force a throw-in for themselves. knocked around on the left there. It eventually comes out. Dalibor Markovic back to Malwith. Malwith just goes long with it. Probably could have. He had Piraeus on the right if he kept his cool, but maybe with a bouncing ball just opted to go long, as Manningham will now collect and look to get something going of their own down the right. Most of their joy has come down the left, but see what they can get going down the right. They've got Jamal Ali, former Central Coast Mariners youth, I believe, and Billy Romas, who should be familiar with this ground, having formerly played with Boleyn out there on the right, as Manningham want a free kick, won't get it, and Hatsi Georgiou will come out. Easily picked out thanks to the long flowing locks that he has and the headbands. Very 90s style look from Hatsi Georgiou. Ball is played to Piraeus on the right. He'll keep it in and he'll look up. What can he swing in? Head up for Metcalf, but it goes wide. Nazarene is going to try to keep it in, but he can't do so. And it will be a goal kick for Manningham, as we've got just 6 minutes left in this half. And Michael, that ball played in by Dylan Piraeus. Piraeus is a very interesting case here. He's got the talent to play A-League and has played A-League this season, but I doubt we'll see him again in the A-League for City, because he has, of course, signed for Western United, one of their signings, and as of next season he will be pulling on some variant of black and green for the A-League newcomers.
Yeah, he certainly will. I mean, I suppose he's like a lot of younger players, get frustrated, don't get an opportunity. He's been highly regarded, played in national teams, and he's decided he's got more chance of getting a game time at a start-up than staying with the established club. It's a gamble, but we'll see if it pays off.
Of course, he has worn the armband for City's NPL side in previous weeks, and also he's a Western Suburbs lad. Was brought up, I think he lives about maybe 100 metres from Western United's proposed training ground, so maybe a homecoming for Piraeus, as now Nazarene will look to do something on the left, just showing off that skill and that tricky style which makes him such a hot prospect, keeping the ball. Good friends with Daniel Arzani as Nazarene, and about 3 or 4 times before he jetted off for Europe last season, I remember Daniel Arzani swearing to me that Nazarene was better than him, so we'll see as Metcalf has the ball under pressure, but he's able to play it out to Kolakowski, but Kolakowski was offside and Manningham will clear. But yes, as you were saying, Piraeus, one of a number of young players that has joined Western United in recent weeks. Apostolos Stamatolopoulos, the striker from Adelaide United, another one, and Sepp Pasquale, returning from Europe, from the academy of Ajax, back to the A-League, back to Victoria with the A-League newcomers. And, well, Sepp Pasquale, he never quite was able to break through at the Ajax into the first team, but you can't really call a couple of years in the Ajax academy a waste, can you?
Well, you wouldn't think so. I mean, in a year with the PSV academy, didn't do Thomas Deng too much harm. He never played at all, other than for the youth teams while he was there. But he's come back and, look, you know, he captained the Ollie Roos the other day, didn't he? You'd think in that Dutch system at Ajax, Pasquale would have prospered. Interesting that he didn't go to Victory, or that Victory maybe didn't put in an offer for him. I don't know what the backstory is there, but again, he'd be like one of those younger players who's thinking start-up club, new team, everything's a blank sheet of paper. I might get more opportunity.
Yeah, very interesting. They have trended quite young in their signings. Piraeus flicks the ball in. Comes out of the back post for Cavallo, but his left-footed effort just sprays across the face. And it will be another Manningham goal kick. And, well, they have trended quite young in a number of their signings, haven't they? Especially in that defensive third. I think Josh Riston is going, at present, Josh Riston is the elder statesman of that unit. So, of course, Aaron Calver signing as well, but he's only 22, 23, or I believe. So, yes, in his mid-20s, Riston is the elder statesman. So, if nothing else, Western United giving younger players a chance early, which we would hope to see with expansion. Younger players overlooked perhaps, or just unable to break through that bottleneck, getting a look in with more sides.
Well, this is the point we've made, not just about expansion, but about the creation of a second division. It's what we, the old NSL, much maligned and often for very good reason, but one thing it did produce was probably, at this level anyway, a bunch of players who certainly achieved a lot more at European level than the current crop who've come through the A-League are doing. Partly that was because so many of them, the best ones, did get a chance to play. They might have played for poor teams who were struggling at the bottom, but they got a chance at 16, 17, 18 to play regular football. That's what the expansion will do, give younger players a chance, unless they do something like allow them to have, 7 or 8 foreign players and we just get it filled up with visa players. I don't really think that's the right idea. I think we should be really looking to foster and encourage the younger players here. It's about building loyalty to the club and the brand. If you're a supporter, the players come and the players go, and the best way to get that affinity, I think, for many fans is when younger players who come through their academies come through and play for the first team.
Michael Lynch espousing the ethos that makes him such a beloved figure on soccer Twitter. Yeah, absolutely right. Of course, young players need to be playing games. All of this talk about the Ollie Roos having a camp for 1 week during the A-League season and what that would mean. Well, I think the phrase is you can't put lipstick on a pig, and it doesn't matter how much preparation you get watching game film or running through tactics. If you're just not good enough to execute them, you're not going to go anywhere, and you're not going to qualify for tournaments. So got to find a way for these younger Australian players to get the game time they need to develop as players, develop the skills that they'll need to go on and represent Australia and earn moves either overseas or into the starting lineups of A-League clubs. Of course, if you're someone like me that just thinks international football is the entire point of football, you would say that it's to get players for the national teams. As Manningham down 2-0, they will hopefully for their fans try to get something going, but City really seems to have steadied in these final minutes as we have just ticked over to injury time. There will be 2 additional minutes as Kolakowski challenges Breslin, and he's done well to duck in front, and he's going to keep the ball in. And Breslin is just forced to put the ball out there, but well done from Kolakowski, who returns during the most recent Y-League season, much maligned Y-League, from an ACL injury, and has really impressed ever since coming back in. Has a sense of fearlessness about him, willingness to back himself on, maybe unless he's one-on-one with the keeper, in which case he'll look to pass, but we can forgive him that. It's now Metcalf, he's got time. Piraeus tees up a shot, but it's onto the tennis courts and was never really looking likely of going into the back of the net as another ball is forced to come in. New balls, please, umpire. God, I'm hilarious. And another goal kick to Telesky. It's felt like he's had a lot of them in this half, but now we're in injury time, nominally less than 60 seconds to go in this half. Michael, how have you seen it? I mean, 2-0, fair enough, thereabouts. Maybe Manningham unlucky to not have one.
Yeah, you'd have to say, on the balance of play, Manningham deserved to have something out of this. I mean, they threatened quite a lot. City had the best.
Nardoni will threaten once again, and he's going to go down in the box. They want a penalty. They're screaming for one. They're not going to get one. Instead, it's going to be a goal kick, and I'm sorry to cut you off, Michael, but that was an excellent chance for Manningham breaking through. And, well, we don't have access to replays, but if you are watching, once the halftime whistle goes, it would be very interesting to go back and have a look at that one. I think that was the loudest that we'd heard the Manningham fans in this one. They wanted a penalty. Do you think it was a penalty?
Well, I thought the first one might have been. You'd think on the balance of probability, the ref might have done a square up and said, "Well, there's 2 very close calls there. They might deserve one of them. I'll give that one." But he didn't, and got to give it to him for the courage of his convictions. Whether he was correct or not, we don't know. No VAR, but you know what? I don't care. I don't like VAR anyway, so I tend to think that over the balance of a season these things even out, and human error is as much part of the game as wonderful, breathtaking skill is. I mean, let's face it, most goals come from human errors by defenders, and be controversial here, but I think referees probably make fewer mistakes than players do.
Yes, Michael Lynch voicing his disdain for VAR. We'll ask him about the E-League in the second half. But here at half-time at the Veneto Club, it's Melbourne City 2, Manningham United 0. And welcome back to the Veneto Club here for one of the two NPL 2 games being streamed this weekend. Manningham United Blues versus Melbourne City, currently a 2-0 margin to the visitors, Melbourne City, thanks to goal in the 11th minute from Rami Najareen and a goal in the 34th minute from Connor Metcalf. So two of the A-League talents on display for Melbourne City paying in as we see Manningham United swinging the changes at half-time. Coming off is Billy Romas, and coming on is James Newman. Newman is coming on, and also coming off is Anton Nardella, and coming on is Daniel Polazon. So a couple of changes for the hosts to try to get some things going as we see acting head coach Rado Vidicic emerge from the tunnel and make his way to the dugout. My name is Joey Lynch from the Daily Football Show on your play-by-play duties, and I'm joined by the chief football writer of Fairfax, not Fairfax anymore actually, of Nine, I think it is now, or whatever. Well, he writes for The Age and the Sydney Morning Herald and about football and motorsport and horse racing, and basically a jack of all trades. He's Soccer Twitter's favourite, Michael Lynch. Michael, how did you see that first half, and can you expect, well, we've seen Manningham swing two changes. They're selling out, they're going for it.
Well, they got to, haven't they, really? I mean, they're near the bottom of the league and they're 2-0 down at home at half-time to City's youth team. Hard to say, really, how they'll tackle this because they didn't do an awful lot wrong in the first half, bar, of course, concede 2 goals. They looked threatening on several occasions. They had 2 good penalty shouts waved away. If they can get a goal inside the first 10 minutes or 15 of this half, you'd have to say they could make things interesting.
Very interesting. Of course, but they had that real flash of intensity and really created a number of good chances soon after Najareen put City ahead, but just weren't able to make that final breakthrough. City held strong, and really after that second goal there was no rise from Manningham like the first time, and City looking rather comfortable at the end. But we'll see what they can do here as they'll knock the ball around their defence. Back to the goalkeeper, and they'll play the ball up the right here now. Palazon, newly introduced. Ducking and weaving under pressure from Duzel. His brother Anthony Duzel went down 1-0 with his Knights teammates against South Melbourne in the original Melbourne derby, as they like to call it, last night at Knights Stadium. Quite a good pedigree, the Duzels. Of course, their father, Ivan, was Ivan. I'll just go full Cockney with it, Ivan. So I make sure I don't pronounce it wrong, well, deliberately pronounce it wrong. Ivan played for the Knights in the 90s, was a part of the 1991, as we've seen another injury for City, but Ivan, do you remember Ivan Duzel playing for the Knights?
I remember those Knights teams in that era. They were certainly very, very good. Of course, when Viduka came through, but they had great sides in those days. Andrew Marth, people like that, stalwarts to the game. Danny Tiato came through there. Steve Horvath came through there. Josip Simonic, you know, a lot of really, really good. I think Simonic came through there. A lot of really good players. I think, you know, the debt that the football community in general owes to the Croatian clubs and the Greek clubs, and basically all those clubs who flew the flag for the game and produced all those players. You know, we're still getting the benefits of it because their sons are coming through now.
Of course, Michael Lynch once again, Soccer Twitter's favourite. No, but he's absolutely right. Of course, all of these clubs that were the talent factories of the game. Knights, still a talent factory, produce a lot of promising youth. And, of course, talking about Ivan, his son, Anthony, has trialled in England in the past. And he's getting good reports from Summer Street that he's maybe turning it on this season. Not the best game last night, but it's a long season now. City will look to come out strongly. No changes for City, it looks like, but that's a poor turnover. Chance on goal, but it's put over the bar by Carafa, and he had all the time in the world to tee something up, but just blazed away with his right boot and put it wide. And once again, there's been a number of chances in this game that probably should have found the back of the net, and that was another one.
Well, you said it was a poor turnover. It was an even worse finish, wasn't it? I mean, he's literally just got the keeper to beat. He snatched at it, got over it, under it, smacked it over the bar. I mean, if they are to get anything out of this game, they really have to take a few of those chances.
So now we can see, we talked about how Manningham have to go for it. They're employing a high press here as ball is put in by Dow to the back post. Shot is blocked, however, and it will be, I think it was from Newman, the shot, but it will be another corner for Manningham United. And we don't have the stats in front of us, but they are flashing up over your screen, and I imagine that corner count for Manningham is quite high at this point with the amount of times they've forced the set pieces, and you see all of those big players they have coming up. Swung in. It's headed away by Cavallo. Ball comes straight back in, and Ali had a shot and was blocked. Manningham wanted a penalty. Another shot came in, but once again, Manningham calling for a penalty from a handball. They had one turned down in the first half, a shout that you think probably should have been rewarded, and well,
that was just a question of whether it was in or outside the area. The referee was a lot closer to it than where we're sitting in the stand, so you have to take his word for that.
But if you are a Manningham fan, or maybe just rooting for City to lose, good signs for them early as now Lorenzi bursting forward, gets a ball across, but stop me if you've heard this before, but it's going to be a corner for Manningham. Comes in towards the back post, header. Oh, that one was for just another one, just headed. They're knocking on the door, aren't they, Manningham?
Well, they were. That was a much better corner, actually. He got depth onto it and swing, got it to the back post, and for big Travis Chalk Hatton, and they sort of double teamed him, really, didn't they? Just to try and get somebody to get something in the way of it.
Now we get another one come in, and another one to the back post for Chalk Hatton. That one is just headed downwards. And it will be a goal kick for City, which is taken quickly by Mawith because he's seen Kolakowski. Kolakowski was in his own half. He's onside. Can break through. Cuts back inside onto his right foot. He's spotted Najarine. The pass is poor, however, and Najarine will be forced to do something with it on the corner. It's coming back inside. He's beaten two. But couldn't beat the third. But that was a good chance there for Kolakowski if his touch had been better, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was good thinking by the goalkeeper. Took it really quickly, and the Kolakowski made sure his run started from an onside position. 7 minutes in, that was virtually 7 minutes in. That was the first time I can think of City actually getting anywhere near the goal in this half, was it?
I think you might be right on that front, as Manningham once again threatened, and it's been all Manningham in these early stages. So we saw similar from them in the first half, where they were continuously knocking on the door, just couldn't get anything going, and perhaps more fortune in this one, as once again they've got a corner, and you can see just those big lads heading up there again, the captain Godfrey and Chalk Hatton, as the ball comes in towards the back post. Another header in, but it's going to be swung back in on the shot, but it's well over the bar. So, God, if you're a Manningham fan, you just have to be perplexed. Just how are none of these headed shots just finding even target?
Yeah, I don't know. They're getting plenty of opportunities. They're probably going to adopt a rugby strategy, aren't they? Kick for touch and go for long throws and corners. The amount of tall timber they've got in the middle there.
There's just another City player goes down. It's been, well, they've been in the wars, City. No injuries forcing a substitution, but copping a number of knocks. They haven't made a change yet, but you can see on the touchline, it looks like we might be getting our first one very soon. So the trainer is on. Can't quite make out who it is from here. Is it? Looks like it might be Graham again. He did receive treatment earlier. And it is Graham that will be departing, replaced by Bradley Chick. So he's copped a few knocks, and now one too many. And Graham, the regional lad, the Bendigo boy, is first off, and he's replaced by Bradley Chick. So we'll see. He'll slot into the defence. So losing your centre-back to injury when you are massively under the pump, it's not something that you want to do as a team, as Nazarene and Kolakowski will chase the long clearance by Mawith, but it'll be comfortably collected. But yeah, losing your central defender when you're under the pump, not something you want to experience if you're any team.
Not really, no, but at least they do have a 2-goal cushion, and you know, you'd think that they've got sufficient cover on the bench to be able to make good in this situation.
Ooh. Sounded nasty there, but no doing, as be now throw into City, and they're going to look to switch the ball up here and try to stretch Manningham and just try to get out of their own half. But unfortunately, they've had to go long, and it's not going to work, as once again, Manningham are going to try to, get something going here. It's turned. Ali is doing very well, riding the challenges. Now Palazon, the newly introduced Palazon, and Ali is going to give away the free kick after hustling for the ball slightly too intensely. Duzel feeds Kolakowski now on the left. Ball is swung in the direction of Nazarene. Goes behind him. Metcalf. Shot is blocked.
That was a good block, actually, by the number 22 there, Mark Vangeli, formerly of Whittlesea Rangers. They haven't had a lot to do this half at the back, so their concentration has to be good.
Ball is swung in by Nazarene, but it's going to be headed clear. And it will be a throw-in on the other side now for City. See what they can get going. Free kick won by Geordie Boss there. Geordie Boss, one of a number of the younger players on the field. Nazarene squares it for Metcalf, but it is blocked by the Manningham defence. Duzel keeps possession for his side. Geordie Boss. Hospital ball, but Chick can't keep the ball, and now there's a chance for Manningham to break, but well defended from Dalibor Markovic. But once again, poor passing here from City. They're putting themselves under much more pressure than they need to be. And now Cavallo trying to just calm things down, which he'll do so. Feed it out to Metcalf. Metcalf cuts inside. Nazarene cuts inside once. Another man feeds it back. Metcalf, he's got time. Somebody's got to pull the trigger. Duzel! Well, shot comes back in. Kolakowski is offside. It won't count. And really, just once the shot had to come earlier there, didn't it?
We did. They got to get Nazarene on the ball more in the forward area here, because whenever he does get it, his technique and his skill level just creates openings and opportunities either for himself or the others, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Nazarene, one of the brightest young talents, not only in the NPL, but in the A-League. Has a very bright future ahead of him, as we said during the first half, he can string enough senior games together to realise the boundless potential that he has. The City will go forward once again. Kolakowski hustling forward. He's very comfortable on the ball. Gives it to Duzel on the left. Duzel dispossessed well by Ali, though. Now Manningham looking to go forward. Palazon under pressure from Duzel. Keeps it in. Twisting and turning, Palazon tried to get the ball in, but it's blocked by Markovic, and it will be a throw-in for Manningham as we approach the hour mark. Long throw is delivered. Headed on towards goal, and that looked like it might be going up onto the crossbar there from the captain, Godfrey. Another header for him, but Malworth taking no chance. And very reminiscent of the Ollie Roos there. A long header in, long throw in, looking for a header. Now Metcalf. Duzel. Najarine. See what he can do this time. Plays the ball in. It's gone to the back post. But it will be a goal kick. And once again, just Najarine showing that skill and that class, almost creating something for his side. And you can just sense maybe the intensity from Manningham, not quite as much as fierce as it was in that opening to the second half. City getting a few chances now as we just go over the hour mark. This will be a free kick taken quickly by Metcalf. Duzel. He's got space. He can shoot from range as well as if he wants. He'll play it instead to Najarine on the left, who's got time. Plays the ball in, but there's nobody arriving at the far post, and it will be another goal kick. But yeah, maybe 15 minutes into this second half, and City have woken up.
Yeah, they certainly playing with a lot more sort of elan in this last 10 minutes, aren't they? You know, they're sort of moving the ball better and they're looking a lot more lively. And maybe as the opposition tires, the sort of skill level discrepancy will start to show more.
City have demonstrated that they are quite capable of scoring in bunches at least once this season. In their round 2 game over Murray United, it was 2-2. At the 70-minute mark, City scored 4 goals in 20 minutes and eventually ran out 6-2 winners. So they can score in bunches. Najarine was on the score sheet that day. With his goal today, Najarine has moved to 5 for this very young NPL season. Made even more impressive that as a player that's on the fringe of the A-League side and is often called away to travel with the A-League side, either as depth or to sit on the bench, he has missed a number of NPL games. So really demonstrating that perhaps he is above the NPL 2 levels. The ball comes to Kolakovsky. Just can't direct it in on goal. It was interesting for City coming into this game. Najarine was leading their goal scorers on 4. And then equal on second place with 2 was Dylan Piraeus, Sam Morrison, who will be out for the season with a broken leg, and own goal with 2. So they have had some bits of fortune this year as well. Not so fortunate for Manningham, who have really, well, the surprise ladder leaders so far in this young NPL 2 season, Eastern Lions, they've really been late specialists. They've won a number of games very, very late in the process. Manningham, on the other hand, as we see the ball come forward here through Piraeus, step-overs of his own. Ball comes in. Najarine just can't meet it there. But yes, if the Eastern Lions are the late specialists, as the specialists at winning games late, Manningham are the specialists of losing game late. In round 1, they lost to Bulleen in the 94th minute, a goal by Daniel McClellan to have Bulleen win 3-2. Against Springvale in round 2, they lost in the 86th minute after Brady Quinn scored to put Springvale ahead 2-1. I have been assured that that's not former Cleveland Browns quarterback Brady Quinn who was scoring for Springvale. In round 3, a 1-1 draw with Box Hill after substitute Sahil Azagane scored for Box Hill in the 83rd minute. And last round, in round 7, they equalised to make it 1-1 with the Eastern Lions in the 84th minute, only for 60 seconds later for Costa Drutzis to put Eastern Lions back ahead and make it 2-1. So I'm not sure whether you'd call it bottling it or luck or whatever it is. Manningham United in the last 10 minutes of games aren't the most happy of couples.
Well, if it's not down to bad luck, you'd have to say it's either down to lack of fitness or lack of concentration, isn't it?
As Dalibor Markovic just heads the ball back to Malwith. A rare start to Malwith. City's academy has a number of talented goalkeepers within it. James Delianov, we mentioned him earlier. First choice for the young Socceroos and trained with the Olyroos. Was deemed talented enough to train with the Olyroos despite only playing in... Nazarene cuts inside. Nazarene, again, pure skill from Nazarene. He'll get another go at it, but he'll put that one out. Very good there from Nazarene as another goal kick will happen for Manningham. But yes, James Delianov was deemed talented enough to train with the Olyroos at one of their recent camps, despite the fact that he has only played 7 games since November 1, which goes back to what we were talking about, young players getting games. You've got the first choice for the young Socceroos who's only played 7 times since November. That's not a good look, but James Delianov is one. You've also got Magic Malwith, a former Victory player who's started today. He's kept a clean sheet for City, and you've also got on the bench, the backup today, Ahmed Taleb, who is an under-17 representative for Joey. So a number of good talented young custodians in the City system. And we had rumours about Mark Berrigetti maybe wanting a move during the transfer window that didn't eventuate, but if he does force a move in the off-season, and with Eugene Galekovic, well, he's not getting any younger, so maybe a good time to be a young keeper in the City system as another break comes down the ref. Piraeus plays it back to Hattie Georgiou, but he just stumbles over the ball. Back to Piraeus. Manningham getting numbers back. Ball has come to Kolakowski. He's onside. Kolakowski! Shot his save. Kolakowski gets it back again. The ball is still live. Just somehow kept out by the Manningham defence.
No, that was a fine double save by Stephen Tuleski there, you know, but City certainly are starting to get on top now. Good flurry from Manningham.
Cavallo! Cavallo! My word! What a shot, and the celebration there. He's done it all. Absolutely hammered left-footed effort, and really no chance there for Tuleski. Josh Cavallo just probably putting this game to bed with an absolutely fantastic left-footed shot from outside the area. He's got some friends here in the stands, and they absolutely love that one.
Well, it's good night nurse, isn't it? I mean, terrific effort, really good long-range drive. Not dissimilar to the one that Richie DeLate got last night at Amy Park, where he's wellied it from similar distance and beaten Jamie Young all ends up as well to put City 3-1 up in that game. You know, just good technique. Got over the ball, got it up and then down into that corner. Keeper no chance.
Absolutely fantastic finish from Cavallo. We've mentioned his name a few times during this broadcast, how he's often playing in that role, maybe deeper in the midfield, just having to calm things down and put his foot on the ball or make that smart pass to bail City out from pressure. But he doesn't get as much hype as some of the others in this academy, the likes of Connor Metcalf and Rami Nazarene, and last season Daniel Arzani and Nathaniel Atkinson and Dylan Piraeus earning a move to Western United. But Josh Cavallo, I'll go on the record here and say I think he's got the potential to become an excellent pro in the future if he can get that chance. He does have the occasional brain fade. He's got a few red cards in the past for back chat or kicking the ball away, but if he can get his temper under control, I really think he's one of these kids that if we do get a second division, or he can break through at City, or he can earn a move elsewhere, just somewhere where he can get game time, he can be a very special player in the future.
There you go. That's a very big rap. You've seen a lot more of him than I have. I have seen him be involved with the A-League side, and you know,
still waiting to make his debut. He's been on the bench, I think, once or twice.
Yeah, but you know, there's a lot of criticism thrown at City and Warren Joyce over young players. You know, because players leave because they want more opportunity. But you know, City do give quite a lot of those kids have come through and been given opportunities there, and I guess, you know, if you're good enough, age isn't going to be a problem. You know, you should be able to force your way through. I mean, it's been difficult for Piraeus because not only did Nathaniel Atkinson, who plays in a similar position, sort of make the transition a year ahead of him, but the marquee player, Richie DeLate, is a right back. Now, you're not going to sign a marquee player and then leave him out in favour of a kid, are you?
As we saw there was, of course, Mark Van Gelly, one of the two centre-backs for Manningham, has gone down with an injury. He was replaced by Keiki Saito, a visa player for Manningham. He's from Japan. So there's quite a number of Japanese players actually running around in the NPL. More Asian players running around the NPL than there are in the A-League, which is a bit of a head-scratcher. But good to see at least NPL Victoria engaging with Asia. Sound the engaging with Asia alarm as City look to come forward once again. And really, they've gotten on top as this half has progressed. And, well, Manningham started very well, and at times they looked like they probably deserved something. They put together some nice passages of play, but just couldn't get that final effort in the back of the net.
No, that's right. They've huffed and puffed. They've been a bit one-dimensional, though. It's tended to be high balls and crosses for their tall players. But I guess if that's what your best asset is, you're going to try and play with it and use it, aren't you? But City are really doing it comfortably now. You know, just rolling the ball around at the back. Jordi Bros coming down here on the left-hand flank. Looking up and just moving it through the midfield. Cavallo's on the ball now, spraying it out wide right. More movement from City. You know, they just look like their tails are up, and well, impossible to see them losing from here. So they could add a few more.
Yes, I think the word is that gallant from Manningham at times. But now coming forward again, Dazelle looking to play through Kolakowski. Manningham will try to break here. Saito. Heavy coming together with Dazelle, and he'll win a free kick. So the Japanese, he looks like he's gone to right back. The Japanese right back getting right involved in the fray, and he's won a free kick for his side in a dangerous position. Dazelle's going to get a talking to. He's already had one red card this season, Luke Dazelle, I believe. But now a chance for Manningham to swing something in from the right, and they've still got their tall players out there, so you never know. Stranger things have happened in football. Movement towards the back post. Floated in by Dow. It's come out, but there's no getting it on target. It looked to be Saito, I think, who had the final touch, but couldn't get it on goal. They've had chance after chance after chance, but, well, the people behind the goals grabbing the balls have had more work to do than Mawith, unfortunately. Not to say that Mawith hasn't had to make some saves, but definitely a case of shots off target for Manningham today as Dazelle comes forward, plays it to Metcalf. Metcalf tried to flick it on to Nashareen, who has gone over to the right. Nice. Turnover here, though. No, won't be. Excellent defending there from Manningham. And this is a chance now. They can break here. Lorenzi, he's got support. But City are able to get numbers back, but they're still able to keep the ball here. Lorenzi once again, hustling and bustling. It's still Lorenzi. He's followed the ball. Well, it wasn't pretty from Lorenzi there, but that was just all effort. You've got to commend him because he has won his side a corner that will come in from Saito. Well, it was going to be Saito until it looks instead like it'll be Chalk Hatton, and perhaps we'll get another long throw-in to a pack in the box, which it is. Headed on by Saito, but it's collected easily by Mawith. One of the problems if you've got your big men who are the only ones capable of throwing those long throw-ins in, they're not in there for the header to put it in, but City come forward. Kolakowski, oh, very nice attempted flick onto Cavallo there. It would have been in all the highlight packages if it had gone in, but Instead, Manningham can look to build again. Oh. Teleski making Kolakowski change schools with that turn. But Chick on the scene to shut things down. Now, as we approach 15 minutes left in the game, City ready to make another substitution here in defence. Chick on the ball. Plays it out to Piraeus, he's been gradually creeping further and further forward from his right-back position as the game has gone on. He's getting forward once again. Duzel. Jordi Boss. Got Najjarine in support if he wants him. He does use him. Najjarine's cross is blocked. Duzel and Palazon underneath it. Manningham fans wanted a free kick. Nothing doing though. Let's see Giorgio. Piraeus. Cavallo. Shoot. And it's just, well, it's not just, it's well over the bar. But fans have not, looks like we'll have a substitution. It looks like Kolakowski will be replaced by Dukuli. Yaya Dukuli was recently on the bench as a 15-year-old for City in the A-League against City FC. Didn't see the park, but decent effort nonetheless to get on the bench as a 15-year-old. And eagle-eyed fans may have noticed on the bench for City today, it's not Joe Palatzidis, it's Rado Vidicic, long-time City youth coach. Joe Palatzidis handing in his resignation earlier in the week. The reasons for that are still in the dark. Joe Palatzidis hasn't talked to anyone as far as I'm aware, but he does leave quite a lasting legacy on both he started at Melbourne Heart on that entire place, hasn't he, Joe Palatzidis?
Yeah, he's been around for a very long time, had a lot of success with a lot of the good youth players that have come through. City have gone down a different road. Obviously, you know, Rado Vidicic brought in as a sort of technical director figure. Probably, place wasn't big enough for two in that regard, and Joe's decided to walk.
Yeah, had quite a number of players, especially even in recent years, that have come through that City Academy. Last year you had Nathaniel Atkinson and Daniel Arzani. This year Connor Metcalf, Rami Najjarine. For Melbourne Victory fans, of course, Anthony Lesiotis was a City boy, the first ever City player, former City player to sign with Victory. Is now a chance for Manningham to maybe get something from this game. Ball is cut across, shot comes in, Mawith spills the first one, and I'm not sure how Newman hasn't put that ball in. It's just not happening for Manningham. They've been worth maybe 1 or even 2 goals. They've been excellent at times going forward, but my goodness, just the footballing gods not with them today.
No, he should really have buried that. It was a good save by Majak Mawith from the first shot, but he spilled it. Rebounds come to Newman. He should have buried it instead of put it into orbit.
Yeah, but another chance here for Manningham now. Lorenzi puts it underwide to Saito. He'll get it back. Ball come in for Lorenzi. Lorenzi shot! It's somehow kept out by Mawith, and that wasn't anything. There wasn't anything wrong with that shot from Manningham. That was just a superb bit of goalkeeping from the very lanky goalkeeper Mawith to get down low and dig that ball out. That was an excellent save, wasn't it, Michael?
It was a good save, yeah. It came at a good height for him, but, I don't know how much power was on it, actually. But, look, he's done well, and that will really help his confidence. That's 2 decent saves now in the space of a minute. You're right, Manningham probably, 3-0 is the scoreline that has flattered City on the balance, given Manningham had a couple of opportunities. But, it's the same whatever level you're playing at, whether it's the park, the school playground, or in the Premier League. If you don't take your chances, the other team's always going to get the opportunity to punish you, and that's what Manningham have found out.
As City make their final substitution in the 79th minute, Luke Duzel comes off and is replaced by Josh Varga, another one of the under-17 representatives in this City Academy, comes on as Manningham. They've had a number of good chances late, and you would have to If you were a neutral fan watching, you would kind of have to feel for Manningham and hope that they could get at least one goal today. Just something for them to hang their hats on, but won't come there, and it'll be a throw in to City. Now coming forward, and the ball is out. Piraeus will fancy his chances here. Piraeus shoots, saved, it's dug out. And he's given away the free kick there, but you could tell he wanted that one, didn't he?
He did, and that was a fine save. The keeper really didn't know a free kick was going to be given. He just had to stop it, and he did. Just in passing, something's popped up on my social media feed, so I don't know which teams in England the listeners and viewers follow. I'm a Tottenham fan, and I'm going to wish the great Jimmy Greaves a happy 79th birthday today, because that's how old he is.
Happy birthday, Jimmy Greaves. You would be in a good mood. Spurs winning their first game in their new stadium as Cavallo comes forward and plays the ball to Najarine, but Najarine had just wandered offside.
It's got a real feel of junk time about this game now, hasn't it? It's 10 minutes to go. Manningham know they can't win. City know they've got the points. They won't want to get injured. You know, it's just about whether they can be bothered making something happening in the last 10.
Well, of course, we all saw what Riley McGree did in junk time last night, so maybe we can hope for another one of those, or maybe hope for Manningham to get something from this game. As we've just ticked over the 80th minute here, so 10 minutes remaining. Hatzi Georgiou sells Piraeus into trouble, and he's going to lose the ball there, and now a chance for Manningham to come forward through Lorenzi. Lorenzi's been in everything. He's kept his run going, but there's nobody arriving in the box till late now. Shot comes in. Oh my God, how? It's just... I'm lost for words at this point. Dalibor Markovic keeps the shot out off the goal line. Good Lord, what do Manningham have to do?
Well, you got to feel sorry for them. There was that Newman who had that shot, was it? Lorenzi had done really well. He's actually had a very good game, Lorenzi, hasn't he? He's been in everything. But, I mean, this time round they've beaten the keeper all ends up, and there's the centre-back who's just got back in time to scramble it off the line. I just think they must be fated today. I really do.
There's maybe a bit of Ellie Carpenter vibes. Shot cleared off the goal line. Matildas yesterday going down 5-3 to the United States of America, the world number 1 ranked defending World Cup champions, United States. As a player has gone down requiring treatment, another City player requiring treatment, which is exactly what you said they don't want. They don't want to get injured here in junk time.
No, talking to the Matildas, that was an entertaining game though. But Ante Milicic does need to sort that defence out. It's one thing to be able to threaten and score going forward against such good teams as the US to get 3. But, you know, if you're going to be that leaky at the back, you are going to have problems in World Cups. But I think they'll be really improved by the return of Steph Catley from injury. She's a key player, not just one of the best players, but a team leader as well, and she was sorely missed.
Yes, hopefully a few more minutes for the likes of Katrina Gorry to come as well, as now Dukuli puts the ball across to Varga. Varga's got space. He's kept the ball there, and he's going to play the ball out to Boss on the left. Varga. Manningham forced the turnover there, and it's with Carafa. But he's passed the ball to no one in particular, and Piraeus will collect. It's just not Manningham's day. Ball is played across that. It is an excellent pass there for Varga. She's got Nazarene in support, step overs. So the ball was for Boss.
He's a busy little player, that Geordie Boss, isn't he? He sort of gets through an enormous amount of work on this, well, left flank here in the second half. I mean, he's not the biggest, but he certainly looks tough, and he's got a lot of energy.
Yes, Geordie Boss, as we've mentioned, a Joey in the frame to represent the Joeys in the Under-17 World Cup later this year in Brazil. So Trevor Morgan's Joey side qualifying for that tournament. Semi-finalists at last year's AFC Under-16 Championships. Cavallo coming forward. He's going to find Piraeus. Piraeus shoots. And Piraeus, as we mentioned, he's not, unfortunately for him, given that he signed with Western United, he doesn't seem as though he's going to play much more A-League minutes for City this season. So maybe he is one that does want to get these goals and enjoy himself. He's had a few shots this second half, nothing going. As Teleski will clear the ball once again with another goal kick. He's made a number of good saves, Teleski. Beaten 3 times, but could have been more had he not been aware. As now Palazon, the substitute, will play the ball into the middle. Lorenzi wants it. Piraeus couldn't keep it away from him, but there's just, once again, Chick getting in the way that time. And now Markovic will look to clear. Boss. Under pressure. This is excellent pressure, and they're forced to, Dow is forced to turnover. Now Palazon. But Palazon will turn it over to Markovic. And Dukuli. Under pressure from Godfrey. He's held him off. Metcalf spies the run of Dukuli. Instead, it will keep going to Varga, and Varga will fall over on his keister. He's forced to reset himself on the left. Hatzi Georgiou. Room to run into in the middle. Comes Dukuli. Shot took a touch off Ali and collected by Teleski. But just going back there, that was an excellent ball by Metcalf to split the defence again.
Yeah, it was, and good running by Dukuli. I know he's just come off the bench and he's fresher, but he made that first run. He saw the ball was going out to a colleague and he peeled off and made a second run. Didn't come to anything because Varga tripped over, but you know, good signs, and it shows you the benefit of being able to use your bench.
Now Varga once again. He's been busy since he's come on. Dukuli, as mentioned, the fresh legs. Hatchi Giorgio, the decidedly not fresh legs. Picked out there by Chalk Hatton, and now it can break. Palazon has kept up his run, and he will get the ball back. Flicker back to Saito. Saito is just sells some candy to Boss, and he can keep going. Shot forces an excellent save from Awith. Does Saito, and second half substitute just, well, maybe you did mention that Boss has been doing a lot of run. Maybe he was tired, or maybe he just had a brain fade, but Saito completely left him for dead there.
Yeah, but once again, you know, keeper just in the right place at the right time. He's actually had quite a good game, hasn't he, Majek Mawith?
So I think this is probably the best game I've seen him play, having watched a lot of City. As another comes into the back post, Manningham United, they're queuing up, but they're not going to get it, and this is dangerous. City can break through Varga. Now Dukuli, they've got Cavallo on the left. He's going to use him. Cavallo should score here, but the touch lets him down. Josh Cavallo, as his mates in the stands laugh, he's just fallen over himself there. That should have been 2 for the City midfielder. And now, will they get made to pay up the other end? Lorenzi, he's had an excellent game. Can he get a ball in? You throw in now to Saito. Can they get something in on the right? Geordie Boss is finding for it. Saito. Oh, even when it looked like Mawith had misjudged it, but somehow the ball comes to him, and now City can go forward again. Cavallo, can he make amends for his somewhat hilarious error? Varga. He's got Piraeus on the right. He uses him. Piraeus got all the time in the world to tee something up. He's going to want a goal, but he's going to have to put a cross in instead. put something in low, but there was really nobody there for it. Maybe a I'm tired cross from Piraeus there. Now Polizon. Under pressure, but he's done exceptionally, Polizon. But the pass afterwards for Lorenzi just isn't there. No, sorry, not Lorenzi. Carafa just wasn't there. As we've got 1 minute left in regulation here. In the final 10 minutes, this has really been characterised by just chances, but silly errors as well. As City slow things down. As my co-commentator yawns next to me, don't think it's that boring, but nonetheless, got to stay awake. We've got the big blue later tonight. As Varga steaming forward. He's got two men on the right. Najarine feeds through Piraeus. Piraeus is in behind. Can he get something in? No, he can't. It's cut out there by Ali, I think. And it will be a corner for City. Now, theoretically, you would say that chances of a goal from a corner for City are low, given the height differences, but you never know in these situations. Maybe work something short and try to drag them out.
Yeah, well, you don't know, do you? Second ball, you see, anything can happen once it goes to the ground.
And they will play it short to Hatzi Georgiou.
Yeah, big night tonight, you're right. Victory in Sydney, you know, could be a battle for second place, or it could be a way of, you know, putting more pressure on Glory if they don't take 3 points to that in this round.
As the referee indicates, we'll have 4 minutes of added time, and Najarine does a nice little touch there to bring the ball down, and he'll go to work. Cuts inside, swings the ball in. Cavallo is waiting there on the back post, and he's kept it in. Varga chips it up, looking for Najarine, nothing doing though. Piraeus falling over himself, but Najarine will bail him out. Tricky little there from Najarine to work the ball to Metcalf, and Metcalf will get it back from Piraeus. Manningham still pressing and still closing down the man. Najarine, Metcalf, Varga. Intense pressure, but they've kept the ball. He's gone down. Excellent challenge from Manningham, and now they can break. And Palazon is on his own up front. He's just got Markovic to beat. Markovic does well to drive him wide. Going to work on that left side, but turnover forced there by, I think it is Bradley Chick, and he's seen, well, he's an excellent crossfield pass to Cavallo. Can Cavallo get his second? Step over, cuts left, plays it back, and Teleski does well to get out because Najarine was waiting for it.
He's been beaten 3 times, Teleski, but I'll tell you what, I think he's had a pretty decent game. His handling has been sound, you know, he hasn't really spilled much, and he saved what's there to be saved, and there wasn't a lot he could do with the goals, really, was there, particularly that rocket from Cavallo.
Absolutely, is really frustrated push there, gives away a free kick, and now City will come down the left through Geordie Boss. Cavallo has drifted wide left late in this going, another area I failed to mention. Cavallo, very versatile. I think he's played literally every position for this City NPL side except goalkeeper. And Teleski will just watch it go out. Does he want to take the throw in? No, he doesn't. Oh, but he's going to get the throw in instead. Interesting. Nice little 1-2 there from Manningham coming forward. Slightly poor back pass, however, selling his man into trouble. And a turnover once again. Varga finds Najarine on the right. One last chance for a bit of Najarine magic if he wants, but excellent tackle will deny him. And all Varga can do is just slide in there and force it out for a throw-in as Manningham look to go forward once again. The high ball out to Saito, who comes down, but his touch lets him down, and Boss will slip in to collect, but he'll just play it back to Hatzi Georgiou. Less than 60 seconds remaining here at the Veneto Club. Cavallo. Battle there between Dukuli and Godfrey, won by Godfrey. Newman. Lorenzi plays the ball out to the left to Palazon. Palazon's going to work. Bradley Chick does well, however, to play it back to Malwith. Malwith to Hatzi Georgiou, to Piraeus, and maybe one final chance for City to pad this 3-0 lead. Good turn by Najarine. An equally good challenge by Breslin. Just killing these attack dead. And we've done 94 now, so you'd think the referee's looking at his watch. Does he allow them one final attack, or does he just blow it dead here? He won't. That's full time. Melbourne City 3. Thanks to first half goals from Rami Najarine and Connor Metcalf. Second half thunderbolt from Josh Cavallo. Kills the game dead. And, well, Manningham pretty much did everything but score in that game. They had so many attempts, but in the end, City arrest a 5-game winless run to get back on the winners list. A much-needed 3 points for City. Michael, how did you see that one in the end?
Well, it was important, I suppose, for City to snap that losing streak. 3 games without a win does start to look poor for a club with the resources they've got and the array of youthful talent. Look, Manningham can count themselves pretty unlucky to be on the end of a 3-0 scoreline. I think they did plenty of good things, plenty of things right. You know, they're probably a bit one-dimensional sometimes when they go long or go high all the time, but it wasn't always high balls, you know, and they did everything but score, really. I mean, the keeper made a couple of excellent saves, Majak, and even when he looked like he was out of place, the ball just seemed to fall to him. City, in the end, I suppose the quality started to shine through. You know, they've got some of the best young players in the country, haven't they? So you'd expect them to be able to eventually impose themselves on opposition at this level. But I think Manningham can hold their heads high enough, you know, and City sort of did what was probably expected.
Indeed. Well, a vital 3 points for City in the ends there will have them heading in the right direction. I've been Joey Lynch from the Daily Football Show. Every 4 p.m. the podcast comes out. Get around us on Twitter and Facebook. I've been joined by Michael Lynch, chief football writer for The Age and appearing in the Sydney Morning Herald and many newspapers around the country near you. Make sure you stay tuned to NPL Victoria across Facebook and YouTube for the remainder of the season. And thanks for joining us today.